Imagine this. You're at a crowded party, surrounded by laughter, conversation, and energy, yet amidst all this activity you feel disconnected, alone even. Why does this happen? Why do some people thrive in solitude while others shrink from it? And most importantly, what does this reveal about the deepest parts of ourselves? Today, we're going to explore the fascinating mind of Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, and his perspective on the loner. Jung believed that the experience of loneliness is deeply tied to our ability to communicate what truly matters to us, our innermost thoughts, feelings, and dreams. But there's much more to this. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just why some people prefer solitude, but how this choice can actually be a pathway to self-discovery, personal growth, and even creativity. The loner is often misunderstood. In a society that values extroversion, where connection and constant interaction are celebrated, the loner can be viewed as odd or detached. But what if this preference for solitude wasn't a sign of dysfunction, but of a deeper, more complex psychological process? Carl Jung had a profound theory that sheds light on this. He believed that many people who seek solitude are not merely avoiding others. They are, in fact, searching for something within themselves. To fully grasp this concept, we need to start by understanding Carl Jung's idea of the self. According to Jung, the self is not just the conscious mind, the part of us that interacts with the world daily, but also the unconscious mind. The unconscious contains everything from our personal memories to the archetypal symbols that have shaped human experience across time. Jung believed that to be whole, we need to integrate both the conscious and unconscious parts of ourselves. And for many people, this journey toward integration begins in solitude. Take a moment to think about this. When was the last time you were truly alone, without distractions? In those moments of quiet, we often find that our thoughts wander to places we typically avoid: our fears, our unresolved emotions, our dreams. According to Jung, these moments of introspection are crucial for our psychological health. He called this process individuation. Individuation is the journey toward becoming who we truly are, our most authentic selves. But here's the key: this process often requires solitude. Jung saw the loner as someone who, whether consciously or unconsciously, embarks on the path of individuation. This person withdraws from the noise of the external world to explore the depths of their inner world. They seek to understand themselves on a deeper level, to confront their shadow, the darker, often hidden aspects of their personality, and to integrate it with their conscious self. It's an arduous journey, but one that leads to wholeness and self-fulfillment. Now you might wonder, is this journey into solitude necessary for everyone? Jung didn't believe that everyone needs to be a loner to achieve self-understanding, but he did believe that moments of solitude are essential for anyone who wishes to live authentically. In a world that is constantly pulling us toward distraction through technology, social obligations, and work, finding time to be alone with our thoughts is more important than ever. For some, this need for solitude is greater, and for these individuals, embracing the life of a loner is not a weakness, but a strength. This brings us to a critical point: society's misunderstanding of the loner. In many cultures, the loner is often seen as antisocial or even pathological. People are quick to assume that those who prefer their own company are lonely or depressed, but Jung offers a different perspective. He suggests that for some, solitude is not about isolation or withdrawal from society. It's about inner exploration. These individuals are not running away from others. They are running toward themselves. They are driven by an inner quest to understand who they are and how they fit into the larger picture of life. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever felt the need to withdraw, to step away from the constant demands of social interaction? If so, you're not alone. And according to Jung, this desire is not something to be feared or suppressed. Instead, it should be embraced as a vital part of the journey towards self-knowledge. As we dive deeper into Jung's ideas, we begin to see that the psychology of the loner is not just about avoiding people. It's about engaging with one's inner world. It's about giving oneself the space to think, reflect, and grow. This is not a rejection of society, but rather an affirmation of the importance of understanding oneself. In this first part, we've laid the foundation for understanding the psychology of the loner from a Jungian perspective. But there's much more to uncover. How does this journey into solitude impact creativity? How do loners find meaning in their lives, even when they are apart from others? And most importantly, what can we learn from their experiences to enrich our own lives? In the next part, we'll explore how solitude can unlock creativity and lead to profound insights. We'll also look at real-world examples of individuals who have embraced the life of a loner and how it transformed them. So stay with us, because what comes next could change the way you think about solitude and its role in your personal journey. Let's continue by diving into one of the most surprising aspects of solitude, its link to creativity. Jung himself was no stranger to this. He often retreated to his tower in Bollingen, Switzerland, where he would spend days in isolation, contemplating his ideas and even engaging in creative acts like carving stones. He believed that solitude, when embraced fully, could serve as a gateway to inspiration and profound inner insights. Imagine yourself in a quiet room, far from the demands and noise of everyday life. It's just you and your thoughts. In these moments, something interesting begins to happen. You notice ideas that were once buried beneath the surface of your consciousness starting to emerge. Without the distractions of the outside world, your mind has the freedom to wander, to explore, and to create. This is the power of solitude, a power that Carl Jung understood deeply. Jung proposed that creativity does not arise solely from our conscious mind. Instead, it often comes from the unconscious, a place that is not always accessible when we are busy with external stimuli. The loner, by seeking solitude, creates the perfect conditions for these unconscious thoughts and ideas to bubble up to the surface. In other words, creativity is often born out of the quiet spaces in our minds. Consider some of the greatest artists, writers, and thinkers throughout history. Many of them were known to seek solitude in order to create their masterpieces. Think of Virginia Woolf, who would retreat to her room to write, or Henry David Thoreau, who famously lived in solitude at Walden Pond to reflect on life and nature. Even Albert Einstein, known for his brilliant mind, would often seek moments of quiet to think deeply about his theories. These individuals understood something that modern society often overlooks. Solitude can be the birthplace of innovation and genius, but this process isn't always comfortable. For many, being alone with one's thoughts can be unsettling. In solitude, we are confronted with our inner fears, doubts, and insecurities, what Jung referred to as the shadow. The shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we typically keep hidden, even from our conscious minds. It's the darker side of our personality, the aspects of ourselves that we might find difficult to accept. For the loner, solitude is not just a time for reflection, it's also a time for confronting the shadow. And while this can be challenging, it's also incredibly rewarding. By facing the shadow, we begin to understand ourselves more fully. We see both our strengths and our weaknesses, and we become more integrated as individuals. This process of integrating the shadow is a key part of individuation, the journey toward wholeness that Jung believed was essential for personal growth. Now you might be wondering, why would anyone want to confront the darker parts of themselves? What's the benefit of looking into the shadow? The answer lies in the transformation that occurs when we do. When we acknowledge and accept our shadow, we free ourselves from its control. Instead of being unconsciously driven by our fears and insecurities, we become more self-aware, more grounded, and ultimately more creative. Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This is the heart of the loner's journey. In solitude, the loner has the opportunity to not only tap into their creative potential, but also to face the parts of themselves that they might otherwise ignore. This combination of creativity and self-awareness leads to a deeper understanding of the self and a greater ability to navigate the complexities of life. This brings us to an important realization. Solitude is not just a physical state, it's also a mental one. You don't have to be completely alone in the world to experience the benefits of solitude. Even in the midst of a busy life, it's possible to carve out moments of quiet reflection. These moments can serve as a time to connect with your inner self, to process your emotions, and to allow your creativity to flow. Now, let's think about how this applies to your own life. Have you ever had a moment where you felt stuck creatively, where no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't come up with new ideas? It's in these moments that solitude can be especially powerful. By stepping away from the noise and distractions of everyday life, you give yourself the space to think freely. And often it's in these quiet moments that breakthroughs happen. The psychology of the loner teaches us that solitude is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. It's a tool that can lead to self-discovery, creativity, and personal transformation. For the loner, the time spent alone is not wasted. It's a vital part of their journey toward understanding themselves and their place in the world. But there's another layer to this that we haven't yet explored. While solitude can lead to incredible insights and personal growth, it can also present challenges. Loners often face feelings of isolation, not just physically, but emotionally as well. They may struggle to connect with others or feel misunderstood by society. Jung recognized this tension and offered wisdom on how to navigate it. In the next part, we will dive into the emotional challenges faced by loners and how Jung's insights can help us understand and overcome these difficulties. We'll explore the balance between solitude and connection, and how the loner can find meaning and fulfillment in a world that often misunderstands them. There's much more to uncover, and the most important revelations are yet to come. Stay with us as we continue this journey into the depths of Jung's understanding of the loner and the profound lessons we can all learn from it. As we journey deeper into the psychology of the loner, it's time to address one of the most significant challenges that individuals who prefer solitude often face: the feeling of isolation. While solitude can be a source of creativity, self-discovery, and personal growth, it can also lead to moments of loneliness and emotional disconnection from others. Carl Jung had profound insights into this experience, and understanding them can help us navigate the tension between solitude and connection. Jung believed that the experience of loneliness is not simply the result of being physically alone. Rather, it stems from a deeper emotional disconnection, from feeling that we are unable to share the things that matter most to us with others. This is an experience that many loners know all too well. They may find themselves surrounded by people, but still feel isolated, unable to express their true thoughts and feelings. This is because the journey into the self, which loners undertake in solitude, often reveals truths and insights that are difficult to communicate to others. Think about a time when you had a deeply personal realization, something that profoundly shifted your understanding of yourself or the world around you. Now imagine trying to explain that realization to someone who hasn't had the same experience. It's not easy, is it? This is the struggle that many loners face. Their journey into solitude leads them to a deeper understanding of themselves, but that understanding can be difficult to articulate to others, leaving them feeling disconnected. Jung acknowledged this challenge, but also believed that it was not insurmountable. He suggested that while loners may struggle to communicate their inner world, they can still find meaning and connection through other means. One of the ways to bridge this gap is by finding or creating a community of like-minded individuals, people who share similar values, interests, or experiences. These communities can provide a space where loners feel understood and accepted for who they are, allowing them to form meaningful connections without sacrificing their need for solitude. It's important to note that Jung was not advocating for complete isolation. He recognized the importance of relationships and social interaction for psychological health. However, he also believed that true connection could only occur when individuals were fully in touch with themselves. In other words, the loner's journey into solitude is not a rejection of others. It's a way of becoming more authentic, which ultimately allows for deeper, more meaningful connections with others. This brings us to a critical point in understanding the psychology of the loner: the balance between solitude and connection. While solitude is essential for self-discovery, connection is equally important for emotional well-being. The key is finding the right balance, a balance that allows the loner to maintain their sense of self while still engaging with the world around them. Jung believed that this balance could be achieved through what he called individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. Individuation is not about withdrawing from society. Rather, it's about integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of the self so that an individual can engage with the world from a place of authenticity. For the loner, this process often requires periods of solitude to reflect, grow, and integrate their inner experiences, but it also requires moments of connection where they can share their insights with others and form meaningful relationships. Let's reflect on this for a moment. If you identify as a loner, you may have experienced the pull between solitude and connection. There may be times when you crave the peace and quiet of being alone, and other times when you long for connection with others. This is a natural part of the human experience, and Jung's insights can help us navigate this tension in a way that promotes psychological health and well-being. Jung's concept of the collective unconscious also plays a role here. He believed that all humans share a set of universal symbols and archetypes that are present in the unconscious mind. These archetypes, such as the hero, the mother, and the shadow, shape our experiences and interactions with the world. The loner, by delving into their unconscious mind through solitude, often gains a deeper understanding of these archetypes and how they manifest in their own life. This awareness can help them connect with others on a more profound level, as they recognize the shared human experience that underlies all of our individual journeys. But this doesn't mean that the loner must always be social, or that they should abandon their preference for solitude. In fact, Jung argued that for some individuals, solitude is not just a preference, it's a necessity. These individuals, whom he referred to as introverts, are naturally inclined to turn inward, to reflect and to seek meaning within themselves. For them, solitude is not a burden, but a source of strength. It's where they recharge, where they gain clarity, and where they find the inspiration to continue their journey of self-discovery. This understanding of introversion and extroversion is one of Jung's most influential contributions to psychology. He believed that both introverts and extroverts have valuable traits, but that they operate differently in the world. Extroverts gain energy from interacting with others, while introverts gain energy from spending time alone. For the loner, this introverted energy is what fuels their creativity and personal growth, but it's important to remember that even the most introverted individuals need moments of connection to feel fully balanced. So, where does this leave us? We've explored how solitude can lead to creativity and self-discovery, and we've also looked at the emotional challenges that come with being a loner. We've seen that the balance between solitude and connection is essential for psychological well-being, and that Jung's insights into introversion and individuation can help us understand this balance. But there's still more to uncover. In the final part of this video, we're going to explore the practical side of the loner's journey. How can you embrace solitude without feeling isolated? How can you find meaning and purpose in your life, even if you prefer to spend time alone? And most importantly, how can you integrate the lessons of solitude into your everyday life in a way that promotes growth, fulfillment, and connection? Stay with us as we bring together everything we've discussed so far and reveal the final, most powerful insights from Carl Jung's psychology of the loner. What comes next will give you the tools to embrace your own journey, whether you identify as a loner or simply want to understand yourself on a deeper level. As we reach the final part of our exploration into Carl Jung's psychology of the loner, it's time to focus on how we can apply these insights to our own lives. Whether you identify as a loner or not, the lessons of solitude, individuation, and self-awareness are universally valuable. Jung believed that every person's journey is one of growth and transformation, and by understanding the psychology of the loner, we can gain practical tools for navigating this journey with greater clarity and purpose. Let's begin by addressing a common question. How can we embrace solitude without feeling isolated or disconnected from the world? As we discussed earlier, solitude is not the same as loneliness. Solitude is a choice, a deliberate withdrawal from the external world in order to connect more deeply with the inner self. Loneliness, on the other hand, is a feeling of being cut off from meaningful connection. The key to avoiding loneliness is to approach solitude mindfully and with intention. One of the most important practices for embracing solitude is learning how to be present with yourself. In our modern world, it's easy to fill every moment with distractions, whether it's scrolling through social media, watching TV, or engaging in constant communication with others. But solitude requires us to set aside these distractions and be fully present with our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. This can be uncomfortable at first, especially if we're not used to it. But over time, it becomes a powerful tool for self-reflection and growth. Jung believed that solitude offers us a unique opportunity to explore our unconscious mind. When we're constantly surrounded by external stimuli, it's difficult to hear the quieter voices within us, the voices that hold our deeper desires, fears, and insights. By spending time alone, we give ourselves the space to listen to these voices, to understand what they're telling us, and to integrate their wisdom into our lives. But solitude is not just about introspection. It's also about creativity and renewal. Many of the world's greatest thinkers and creators, as we've mentioned, sought solitude as a way to tap into their creative potential. And you can do the same. Whether you're an artist, a writer, or simply someone who wants to think more deeply about life, solitude can provide the mental space you need to develop new ideas, solve problems, and find inspiration. One practical way to cultivate this creative solitude is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings allows you to process them in a structured way, and it can often lead to surprising insights. Jung himself kept detailed journals throughout his life, documenting his dreams, ideas, and reflections. This practice of writing can be a powerful way to connect with your unconscious mind and explore the deeper layers of your psyche. Another method for embracing solitude is through mindfulness or meditation. These practices teach us how to focus our attention inward, quiet the mind, and observe our thoughts without judgment. By regularly practicing mindfulness, we can become more comfortable with being alone, and we can learn to appreciate the stillness that solitude brings. Over time, this can lead to a greater sense of peace and clarity in our lives. But as we've discussed, solitude must be balanced with connection. Even the most introverted loners need meaningful relationships to thrive. The challenge is finding connections that are authentic and aligned with your values and inner self. For loners, this might mean seeking out smaller, more intimate social circles, where deep, meaningful conversations are valued over superficial interactions. Jung's concept of individuation plays a crucial role here. Individuation is the process of becoming who you truly are, of integrating all aspects of your personality, both conscious and unconscious, into a unified whole. For the loner, this often means embracing their preference for solitude, while also recognizing the importance of connection. It's not about conforming to societal expectations or forcing yourself to be more social than you're comfortable with. Instead, it's about finding the right balance for you, one that allows you to engage with others from a place of authenticity and self-awareness. So how can you integrate these lessons into your everyday life? Here are a few practical steps. First, make time for solitude. Whether it's a few minutes each day or longer periods on the weekends, set aside time to be alone with your thoughts. Use this time to reflect, journal, meditate, or engage in creative activities that bring you joy. Second, pay attention to your inner world. Notice the thoughts, feelings, and ideas that come up during your moments of solitude. Don't shy away from uncomfortable emotions or difficult insights. Instead, embrace them as opportunities for growth and self-understanding. Third, cultivate relationships that support your journey of self-discovery. Seek out individuals who understand and appreciate your need for solitude and who can engage in meaningful conversations about the deeper aspects of life. These relationships will help you feel connected, even when you spend much of your time alone. Finally, practice mindfulness in your daily life. Whether through meditation, yoga, or simply being more present in the moment, mindfulness can help you stay grounded and connected to yourself, even in the midst of external distractions. As we conclude this exploration of Carl Jung's psychology of the loner, it's clear that solitude, when embraced mindfully, can be a powerful tool for personal growth and transformation. It allows us to connect with our inner selves, to explore our unconscious minds, and to tap into our creative potential. But it's also important to remember that we don't have to do this journey alone. By finding balance between solitude and connection, we can create a life that is both deeply fulfilling and aligned with our true selves. Jung's insights into the psychology of the loner remind us that the path to individuation, the path to becoming our authentic selves, is a journey of both solitude and connection. It's a journey that requires us to look inward, to embrace the darker parts of ourselves, and to seek meaning in both the quiet moments of reflection and the meaningful relationships we build along the way. As you reflect on everything we've discussed, consider how these insights apply to your own life. How can you embrace solitude in a way that promotes creativity, self-awareness, and personal growth? How can you find balance between time alone and meaningful connection with others? And most importantly, how can you integrate these lessons into your everyday life so that you can continue to grow, evolve, and become your true self? The answers to these questions may not come immediately, but they will reveal themselves over time as you continue on your own journey of self-discovery. And remember, As Jung once said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. May your journey into solitude be one of awakening, growth, and profound transformation.